Hi, I'm Rob Hobson, registered nutritionist and nutritionist here at Hellspan, and today I'm going to be talking to Dr Hilary, who is a GP and a familiar face on TV. Dr Hilary, probiotics, is this something that you recommend to your patients?
Absolutely, Rob. I mean, I think here we have something that the body needs. Probiotics have been around for centuries, but what we do to our guts these days is not particularly healthy all the time.
Yeah.
Many people are stressed, many people eat a poor diet, many people smoke, drink too much alcohol, party late, don't get enough sleep, so their immune system is compromised. And anything that improves our immune system's got to be good. Now, in terms of probiotics, I often recommend these to patients who've had diarrhea, perhaps caused by antibiotics, which we're prescribing less of, but still far too many times, sometimes unnecessarily. And people get an upset gut flora. They develop symptoms of diarrhea. So probiotics can minimize those side effects. We know that probiotics have a very good use in elderly people who are susceptible to a bug called C. difficile, which is potentially life-threatening. People with IBS, 15% of the population, many people respond to taking probiotics. People with ulcerative colitis who've had surgery and get pouches which can become inflamed respond well. Of course, not everybody, and there's a lot more we need to understand about probiotics, but for all these cases, and for people who basically have lifestyles that aren't particularly healthy, I say to them, look, consider taking a probiotic.
Yeah, and in terms of the research, in your opinion, you've mentioned a few conditions then, where does the strongest research in your opinion kind of lie? I know we hear a lot about immune health, we hear a lot about these upper respiratory tract infections.
Sure. I think it's fascinating to see how much evidence and research is coming through regarding the role of probiotics in boosting immunity. If we look at the immune system, everybody thinks, well, I think the immune system is based in the lymphatics, in the lymph nodes, isn't it? And very clever people say something to do with the spleen as well. And very, very clever people say the thymus gland, which no one's ever heard of. But actually 70% of immune cells, plasma cells, which are so important, are found in the gut, in the lymph tissue of the gut. And that's a seat that drives immune function. And when you think of all the things that arrive in the gut, parasites, bacteria, viruses, toxins, we need a good immune system there, and we need to feed it and nourish it properly. So a lot of evidence is suggesting that T cells, which start to fall in numbers as we get older, can be boosted by probiotics. And we're learning more about which strains of probiotics should be used, what numbers to use, and when they should be used. So I think the research in terms of how we can boost immunity, which we all need all the time, is fascinating. Okay,
and in terms of when you're recommended a supplement to somebody, are there any particular strains that you tell people to look out for?
Yeah, definitely the lactobacilli and the bifidobacilli are very important. We're learning more, as I say, all the time. And one of the things that I think all healthcare professionals can do is say, not just take any old probiotic, but you've got to go for a reputable source. Go for one that's got proven science behind it, a company that is very well researched and well thought of. You want something that is actually contains in the product what it says it's got on the label, the right strain of probiotic, the right numbers. I think that's all very important, so we can help people make those decisions.
Yeah, and I think that's really interesting, because often when I speak to people about their GP and probiotics, they can't get this information from their GP. So is that information becoming more available?
I hope so. I think there's still a lot of confusion, and there are experts who will disagree on certain matters. But I think if you go to a reputable source with a website which is scientifically based and has a medical board that is approved, you haven't got regulation in probiotics, but you've got the next best thing to it in that situation. And that's what I would recommend people to do.
Do you take them?
I do. It would be hypocritical if I didn't recommend them to my patients. And I like to be in tune with my own gut. You know, we all know if our guts are out of sorts. Usually, if everything's functioning smoothly and normally, we shouldn't even be conscious of digestive function. But we know when things aren't right.
That gut feeling.
That gut feeling. And I'm like everybody else. I like to party. I have to endure a bit of stress in my life. I probably don't always eat a perfect diet, and therefore, and I am very selective about the supplements that I take. One of them will always be a probiotic.
Brilliant. Right. Thank you, Dr. Hilary.
Well, thanks very much.
No problem. Thanks.